Hi and welcome. I'm Terry and I am the creator with Northern Simplicities, and today we're going to do the tutorial for the Winter Melody Pocket Folio. This is my first ever YouTube tutorial, so please bear with me while I sort through this. I also, because you see my hands, I want to apologize. You're going to see a big bruise here. I was playing tug of war with my dog and he got a little excited. No broken skin, just a big bruise. So now let's get on and get started. So when you print the Winter Melody, you're going to get 7 pages. So this one here is the inside panels, and you'll see that there's 3 pieces. So they're going to get layered, and each piece has comments on kind of assembly instructions onto the tabs where it goes. So you're going to cut out around the lines. And in this page here, we have our flaps. On yours, it'll say the outside and the inside. And then we have some pockets. And then here is the outside panels. And it's the same. You're going to have 3 panels with some more pockets. And again, they're going to tell you where to put the pockets. And you're just going to cut out and be sure to include the tabs. And then we have a page of some tags to go into your pockets, just to fill them all up. You don't have to use them all, but it's a nice selection here. And then again, we've included some fussy cuts if you want to glue or use to your preference. And then here's just, I always include a visual assembly instruction just so you can kind of see where everything goes, and I label it inside and outside. I'm a visual crafter, so I like to see what I'm doing. So this is kind of just always a handy little thing, and I try to include it with all of my projects. So you get 7 pages, and then I've already cut mine out. So I have your panels A, B, and C, D, E, and F, G, H, and I think. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to, yep, G, H, and I. And then here is your flaps. So first things first, I'm going to score my flaps in the middle so I can fold them in half. And I just use a nice little scoreboard here. Sometimes I find that that helps a little bit. Should have brought my glasses up. So I just use the scoreboard there and mark it in. And then I fold it. And just make sure you fold it aligned. And then I just use this little Cricut tool just to kind of help secure it a little bit better. And see, got lucky. Now, right now I'm using the Beacon 3-in-1 glue. There's lots of good craft glues out there, and I'm not going to tell you which one to use. It's everybody's preference. Actually, hold on. I want my... I always like to use a mat to glue on. It just, even though this mat here is good for glue and stuff, I don't personally like to have glue on it because I just find that it's no longer a nice working mat. Okay, so I've kind of glued that, not kind of, I did glue that. I have just a little bit of white trim here, but we'll see. I might grab my X-Acto knife. I don't know if you can see, there's just a little bit of an edge there. I just like to grab the X-Acto knife and just clean it up a little. Okay. So that's our flap, all folded nice in half. This is the inside, so it says glue to the inside panel B, okay? So what we're going to do here is our panel B. Now, you can write on the back of them if you wanted to, after you cut them out, so you know which ones are which. So this would be A, B, C. If that helps you sort that out. So what we're just going to do here on this first one is we're going to grab that panel and we're just going to glue our flap right here lined up. One thing I like about this glue is once I still have some time once I glue it to move things around to make sure that they're all lined up nicely. So we have that all lined up there. So that's how that will look there, okay? So the next panel, and just in case you like, so you know, is our little pockets are on opposite sides. Again, you could write on the back. So this would be C, D, E, and F. And it still has a tab on it. This one, your bottom one, has no bottom tabs because it's the final edge, okay? So we're going to glue this to panel E. And the same thing, we're just going to line it up nicely. I love this pattern, just with the music sheets, with the snowflakes. Okay. So this is so far. And then now this one's going to get glued to the back of panel H. So F, G, H, I. You may want to do this as soon as you cut them out. I've been living and breathing this design for a few days, so I kind of have it memorized which pieces are which. So we're going to do the same. We're going to glue this here. And I should mention before we glued this, now I don't use a lot of distressed ink, not on a lot of my designs, and I don't add them to the printed design. But if it's something you wanted to do to add the distressed ink, I would add it to your edges before you start gluing it. I meant to mention that, but again, it's not something I do a lot, so I forgot. My apologies. So here is the inside of our, I think you might be able to see it better if I flip it this way, the inside of our little pocket folio. So now we're going to flip it over here, and we have our back, our outside, which it lines up this way. Again, the same thing, you just kind of line it up. You can label the backs of them if you want. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. You could glue all three pieces together and put it on at once. I try not to do it that way. I just find it's harder to line it all up when it has glue on it. So I tend to take a piece at a time and attach it that way. Be very careful as you're gluing it to make sure that these tags don't get glued to the piece below. So we're going to add some glue here and cover our flap here. Make sure you get those little tags for your pocket. I know some crafters do fancy words with their glue and their, sorry, I'm just throwing it on. Now this is where we want to be super careful and line it up to the best of our abilities on both sides. And it doesn't always, I'm sorry, as much as us crafters work to create it beautifully aligned, it doesn't always line up 100%, no matter how hard we try. Surprisingly, these are all the exact same frames when I design it. That it's kind of drives you crazy when they don't line up. So you can see here I have some white edge here. We're going to trim that off when we get done and get in there as well. Okay. Because other than that piece there, it all lines up well. Okay. So now we're going to grab the next piece. And again, we're going to be very careful not to include this pocket flap. And we're going to do the same. We're going to glue them on. And we have another pocket flap here that I just want to pull out front because I don't want him to get stuck glued in there. Just line him all up. I love little pocket folios because they have so many uses. You can stick them in a pocket of your journal, or you can just do it all on its own. I think I want to. They're super trending. I sell a lot of pocket folios. Okay, this one here's. I have to start figuring out what to do with all of the ones I design, because they're all starting to accumulate. My husband's starting to get cranky with me for all of the boxes I have of designs and junk journals. So you'll see here, we just need to clean up that edge when we're done. Okay, so now we're going to go on this panel here. And again, you have your pocket tab. So now we're just going to throw it to the back so it doesn't get caught in. One of the things I love about creating is coming up with the idea and then the style and then putting it all together. It's to see it piece by piece. I haven't seen this assembled yet, so I'm kind of excited. I've seen the template, because I always do templates before I do a new design to make sure all the pieces go together. And I've seen it all together on the computer, because I always put it together on the computer to see how it looks, but I don't see it together as paper. Look at that, that one lined up. Okay, so we do have some trimming to do. So for the trimming, I'm just gonna put my cap on that. For straight edge like this, I just simply grab a ruler. And trim that up. And then this one here. So I guess I should apologize in advance too. If you hear my dog bark, he's a corgi, so they're definitely vocal. I'm just gonna freehand this one. And just on cue, there he is. We've just moved my father-in-law into our house beside us, so there's lots of commotion going on. And our dog's best friend, my father-in-law's dog, is there, so lots of busyness right now. Lots and lots of busyness. Might have to get that piece there after I fold it. I like to use a 65-pound paper for everything. I just find it's kind to my printer. It's still flexible enough to use, but it's also sturdy enough for all of the memory keeping and uses that we put through them, but it's not too thick that it tends to get worn. There, I think the dog just went outside. Okay, so I think I have it all nice and cleaned. This little edge here, I think I'm gonna have to get when we fold it. Okay. So this is the inside. Make sure I'm in my, okay. And then as we flip it over, this is the outside. Again, I like to use my scoring board to fold. So we have to fold each spine. And the reason we have spines is because it layers and it folds itself over. So the first fold I want to do is I want to do my pockets. So I'm just going to line them up here, make sure that you can see. And we're just, so when you're on your scoring board, the side that's facing up is the inside of your score. I hope I explained that right. It took me a while to kind of figure that out. And you'll notice when I did the flap, I did it from the outside and had to fold it the opposite way, but I wanted the visual of my line. Oh, why does that? So I knew that's not working there. So you can see what I'm doing here. A trick, if you have a scoring board and your eyes are shot like mine, you'll see that all those lines blend together. So you'll see here I took a black permanent marker and added lines on mine so I can see easier to line it up. So now what we're doing is we're folding in our pockets. So even though we've done the score, because it's a thicker paper, I still fold it in that way. And if you don't have a scoreboard, that's fine. You can do exactly what I'm doing right here and use a ruler as well. And just line up a ruler. And this one's going to be a little tricky. There we go. A credit card, a gift card, your fingers, it all works the same. And we're just gonna, this is why I don't like going to a thicker paper, is because when you get too thick of a paper and you try folding over your pockets, those tabs get to be too hard to fold over. Like this is the 60-pound paper and it's pretty hard. So we're just going to glue those tabs and then we're going to fold over. Make sure none of that glue gets anywhere else. And we just need to hold it for a little bit because it's pretty thick. Okay. We're now going to work on to the next pocket. I like to put tabs on my pockets. Sometimes I get a little excited with glue just to do the edges. But not just that, I find that it just gives you that little bit extra room in there to add your goodies. All that ephemera that we include. And just so you know, if you have any suggestions for designs that you would like, leave them here on the link or email me. I'm always looking for designs and I'm always happy to create items that I know people want. I like to think that I'm creative, but when you're doing a design, as often as us creators are doing them, it tends to get to wondering what everybody wants. That's a lot of glue on that one. So I'm just gonna go like that. And we're just gonna spread it down a little bit. So now we're gonna, and when you fold them over, make sure you're not on that spine because we want to make sure we can fold this later. Okay, that one's sticking a little better than the last one. See how I think these pine cones on top of the music sheets is just so pretty. Okay. There's no, one thing I like about junk journaling is there's no rules. I might do something on this paper, and I know a lot of other crafters like to use a thicker paper, and some like to use a thinner paper. You may have a preference, and just because I suggest this is what I use for my designs doesn't mean that's what you have to use. Just because this is how I'm putting mine together, if you have a different way to put it together, by all means, there's no right or wrong. I have some customers who buy my designs and don't do any of my assemblies. They put it together themselves in a different, and it looks totally different. Actually, a recent review I just had, I created some paper dolls, and I created them intentionally for paper dolls with little dresses and stuff with tabs. When I was a kid, I played with them all the time. And the review showed that she just cut the doll out, glued one of the dresses on the doll, and used it on a Christmas card. I thought, oh, how fantastic was that? And it looks phenomenal. So if you're watching this video, Marion, I absolutely adore your Christmas card. Okay, so here is our pockets. Okay, so that is done. Now the next step before we start to fold it is we're going to add our other pockets to it. So this one here goes to panel A. Panel K is the back. K is the back. This one is panel G, and this one is panel F. So the same thing, we're just gonna fold our tabs. I always fold them up first, simply because I can see the line to start the crease. And I only use my scoreboard when I'm actually trying to do a big folding crease in the folio itself. So once I fold them all up, then I'll come to the other side and fold them back, and then this way I know. Now these ones here, you'll note my tabs don't go all the way to the top, because then you would have seen them visible behind the pocket, and I didn't want that, so I just made them a little smaller. And that's one of the reasons why I always do a test print, is so I can make sure that the product you're going to get in the end is aesthetically correct. I think that's the right word. I don't know if any of you read my first book that I had, my ebook that I had launched on my Northern Simplicity site. It's now on my other site, but my other shop. But I just started junk journaling a couple of years ago. And personally, I don't junk journal per se. My designs keep me busy. But I was just chatting in one of my groups and realized for gifts, I'd always do personalized photo albums and attach lyrics, song lyrics to it. So I guess per se in my lifetime, I've kind of junk journaled in a different way. So there's your pocket there for A. Now we're going to work on pocket F, which is a peekaboo window, see-through window here. Drawing a blank on all the proper terms. A little nervous with this first video. But back to my stories, when we semi-retired, I knew I wanted to do an Etsy shop, and I was always savvy with Excel and stuff like that. So I thought I would do some Excel. But when I started researching and taking courses on Etsy and how to create a business on Etsy, I discovered this. And here I am. I absolutely love the creation behind putting together templates and the designs to go with them, and creating these phenomenal little memory holders. And I do thoroughly love that every creation I make is intended for someone to hold their stories and their memories. I guess as I get older, I'm kind of emotional on those memories that we have of our day-to-day lives. My children are adults now. I've lost my parents, recently my mother-in-law as well. So all of this to me is to be able to create something for someone to keep all of those memories. We're going to work on G. And I just love knowing that I can help someone with those memories, even if it's just their day-to-day memories of what they did in the month of June, or the memories that they share to gift to someone. So please know that every design you purchase from me, it is intended, designed with thoughts of what this design can do and how, and where you can, you know, keep everything, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'm just talking to talk. I do that a lot. Not a big fan of no noise. It always has to have noise. And the same for your distressing of your pockets. If you wanted to distress ink your pockets, do it before, after you fold your tabs in and before you glue it on. I would think though, if you're distressing your journals after you buy them, you know where and how to distress them. So here's all of our pockets in here. So we just need to add our 2 pockets here onto K. K is the top one here because this is your very back panel. So I'm just going to move them up here for a minute. I'm going to fold both pockets first. I'm sorry, am I? Oh no, I'm still on the screen. I've added dots onto my mat so I know where my screen is, but I tend to forget, so if any of you also, again, this is my first YouTube tutorial, suggestions on how to improve it for you, talk less, whatever they may be, please let me know. Again, I want these tutorials to work for you. Everything I do, sounds like that song, everything I do for you. So it's got to work for you. It's got to help you, because there's no point in doing this if it's not helping you. Okay, so I've got my K, and I'm just going to balance my K just like the others. Just going to put them on here. Again, in those lines. I just clean up that extra glue. I don't want to accidentally have something glue to something else. Okay, and now this one here just sits on top of that one for a double pocket. Guess I was gonna fold that before and didn't. So when I cut all of these ones, I used my Cricut for the first time. I finally sorted out how to use my Cricut to do the cutting, and this is my first design where I've included actual Cricut cut files. And they are tested, only with Cricut. I only have a Cricut here to test it with. So with Cricut, they only cut in a small square. So you'll find if you have a Cricut that the pages are already designed within that square. So you just have to upload them to your Cricut. I'll do another tutorial on how to use those files for your Cricut. I'll do that one on my next project because I've already printed this. Oh goodness, I thought he went outside. I'm just taking this piece of glue off here. I don't like that piece of glue there. He's adorable, he really is, but he's loud. You're just gonna line that up to the bottom like that, and glue him on. Oh, that turned out really pretty. Okay. So here is our outside. I just wanna, oh, this is ever turning out really pretty. Okay, so now what we do is we start to fold to score all of our spines. I'm going to use our scoreboard for that. Again, I'm going to do it from the inside. Put my lid on my glue. So we're just going to line that up. I'm originally from Southern Ontario. And I worked in education for years, sales and marketing prior to education. I have 2 kids, 2 adult kids. And my husband and I, we were done. We were tired of spending all of our time working in yard work. We had 5 acres of property. Gorgeous, gorgeous custom built home. We built when we had the kids. It was our retirement. Neither of us had been putting into a pension, so we thought, well, we're always going to pay a mortgage, so let's just invest our money into our home. Well, it worked out well for us because we decided we wanted to semi-retire. So we sold the house and moved up here to Northern Ontario. We both love fishing. Well, he's always loved fishing. I got my fishing license for him as a joke for our 20th wedding anniversary. Sorry, I'm not able to score this because it's too thick with the pockets behind it, so we're gonna do that by hand. Back to my story, yeah, so I got it for him as a joke. Well, the joke was on me. He started making me go fishing with him. He says, well, you've invested the money into your fishing license, you're fishing. So needless to say, I absolutely love fishing. And then when it came to ice fishing, I told him he wanted me to go ice fishing, and I said, oh, I don't have the proper gear to go ice fishing. Kind of using that as my excuse not to go sit in the cold. Well, then he drove me to Cabela's, and needless to say, I now have all the proper ice fishing gear. And truth be known, I absolutely love it. We're just starting to get our winter up here. We have 6 inches of ice on our river. We're told the lake has 8. Once we get the father-in-law settled a little bit more, I think they're actually out working on snowmobiles right now. We'll be out ice fishing, and I can't wait. And it's, you know, it's kind of quality time with my hubby. I kind of like it, but it's something we enjoy doing together. And up here in Northern Ontario at Lake of the Woods, I'm not sure where you're from or if you've heard of it, but it's one of the top, actually it was the very top ice fishing destination this year in North America. I've caught some really big fish, lots of personal bests. We prefer fishing for our walleye and pike. I haven't caught a muskie. He's caught some muskie, unintentional. We've never really targeted muskie. But yeah, so I'm super excited to get back out there to do some fishing. We didn't get a lot of fishing done this summer. My husband is a fish guide, so he was busy fishing all summer, and then unfortunately our mother-in-law, his mother, was fighting with her cancer battle, so that kind of kept us a little busy over the summer. So we're now hoping to get my father-in-law out fishing. He's been wanting to fish for a while, and just to keep him busy too. Okay, so I've now scored all of my spines. Even with saying that, they still need, in order for these to, your folios to fold well, they need to be a very crisp, sharp line. Okay. But yes, I've enjoyed, so part of our semi-retirement outside of fishing was he wanted to be a fish guide. And that's where I got into, I knew I wanted to do something with Etsy. And here I am. I did get back into education when we first moved up here. But once my Etsy shops kind of started to take off a bit, I decided I wanted to really focus on them. So I left my job to focus on Etsy, and I have no regrets. Okay, so we have them all here. So to fold our folio, you start off with the bottom and you fold him in, and then you fold him up. The spines are all created to go over each piece. And then this piece gets folded up, and then this piece gets folded over, and then this piece gets folded down. Okay. Now, you're gonna need some sort, oh, did he ever turn out really cute, of closure. You could do a Velcro tab to close him here. You could have put a magnet inside to close him here. Magnets are hard to line up. I've done them. What I decided I was going to do with this was I was going to cut a piece of lace and we're going to tie them. I'm just going to cut off a piece of lace. And because we're using a thicker paper, he will bounce open like that. Okay. So you can tie your lace. What I'd like to do here is we're gonna bring him in like this. Fold him up a bit. Okay, and then we're gonna go like this. Oh, I guess I should have done that on the back, eh? So I'll go like this. I'll go like this. I didn't line him up very well, but and then we have our nice little, guess I should have done it the other way to turn the bow the other way. Our nice little pocket folio. Now, but included in the kit, so this is just us quickly putting it together. We have all of these little tags that you can personalize. So they just, you'd put them into your pockets. Bear with me here. Oh, there we go. And you have a whole collection of tags, some blues, some greens. The blues I've kind of tied in to pull in a little bit of different colors. And And also the rest of the theme that's coming out, it's going to have some blues in it. So I have a whole collection coming for them. This is just the Pocket Folio. Already released on my in my shop are the journal pages, the classic journal pages, and later today is going to be the tall journal pages. At the time of this video, this has not even been published. For those who have purchased my my bundles, my 2025 bundle or my full bundle, they'll find they've already seen it, I'm sure, because it's on there. So yep, your pockets just go in. I've got some bigger pockets and some smaller pockets, and they're all lined to go in and to fit in here. You can personalize the pockets. I've left, the tags, I've left lots of blank space here for you to personalize. And then we've also got lots of fussy cuts here. And those. So we have lots of little fussy cuts here. Some music notes for the melody part. They were so much fun to make. So those, and then just some botanicals, just to add in there. Some roses, some winter flowers, some pine cones, a little notebook, and then 2 just little winter quotes. This one here, the Winter Melody one that I made, I kind of sized it to go in to fit in this pocket here, to just kind of to see a word through. Again, this is your little pocket folio to do as you wish. So again, you kind of fold him in, fold him over, then he goes up, over, and then your closure. We'll see if we can do this a little differently this time. Let me first find out my middle. So here's my middle, so we're gonna put that right here where my thumb is. Take them down here. So you just kind of, once you get to the middle here, you kind of twist them like that. Pull them to the front. The nice thing about the lace too is if you had some paint handy, I don't have mine handy, or your distressed ink, you can just kind of color up your lace a little bit too. You don't want a thick lace. There we go. Now I got it a little better. And then there you go. There is your Winter Melody Pocket Folio. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience with me. I'm sure this was a long tutorial. Again, I look forward to any suggestions on how I can improve my tutorials. This is my very first one. I'm going to run out of things to talk about on the next of them. Any suggestions as to what you want and what works for you is I look forward to. Thanks again, and there'll be a link for the product in the description. Have a great day.